Welcome to episode 7 of Emulating Puskas, where today we're going to be having a look at the players aged 23 at the end of the 7th season on this save. So we're getting to that point where the players are reaching their prime period, the early stages of their prime period, and should be excelling as players and winning competitions for their clubs and just being all-round amazing players. Hopefully, anyway, that is the case. I'd just like to start off by apologising for my pretty hilariously dreadful mistake in episode 6, where I mistakenly thought Toulouse were based in North America and were in the MLS, when obviously they're based in France. I think my little old brain was just not thinking properly and was reading it as Toronto for whatever reason. So I thought Toulouse were Toronto and they were based in Canada, and yeah, pretty awful mistake, but these things happen. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I'm just scrolling down the players so you can have a look. You can pause the video to have a look at your player or the player that you are supporting in the series, just to look at their details across the way. As you can see there, we've still got 88 players in the series yet. We haven't had any more casualties yet, which is good, and we've actually got a few players that have reached 200 current ability. You can see these 5 players: Boris Johnson from Sweden, Sean Watson from Scotland, Harry Dagubati from Wales, Kenneth from New Zealand, and Christian Gopi have all reached 200 current ability. So let's just have a quick look at those 5 because they deserve to be looked at. 34 goals in 54 games for Boris Johnson. He's now moved to Real Madrid. He's actually had a couple moves since the last episode. He moved to Dortmund for £59 million. Did really well there, quite a few goals, very good average ratings. Then moved to Real Madrid and is scoring plenty of goals. 38 goals in all competitions in his first season and 29 this season. What a player this guy is. Then Harry Dagubati, who is a Welsh striker or attacking midfielder. 43 goals in 58 games for Wales. He's also moved to Real Madrid, but on a free. Moved to AC Milan for 23 million. I'm guessing his contract ran out after those 4 seasons, and is now at Real Madrid. I would guess he's not really playing up front because I assume they're playing someone else. The previous player up front, Boris Johnson, of course, up front. He's playing left wing predominantly for Real Madrid, as you can see there. Then Kenneth, who is just ripping it up for New Zealand at the moment. 73 goals in 65 games for New Zealand, who are currently 78th in the world. They've gone up thanks to Kenneth and Nuasala. Apparently Frank Paul Nuasala, thank you to the person that commented in the last episode, he is a rugby league player. So I'm guessing whoever created that player based him on the rugby league player, unless it's just a weird coincidence. Anyway, Kenneth has been at Man United his whole career, and he's on the way to becoming a Man United legend, unless he moves on. He's scoring over 25 goals every season for the last couple seasons. He's having a really good career. Christian Gopi is at PSG. He's a Trinidad and Tobago player. Only 9 goals, but he's a midfielder, so we can't really compare there. He's been at PSG since that 2nd season where he moved from Burton on a free. And lastly, Sean Watson. 3 goals in 52 games for the centre-back for Scotland. He's moved to Arsenal in the last 3 years. £32.5 million from Southampton, so they've spent big on him. Someone just asked me in the last episode, asked me to add clean sheets for the goalkeepers. That seems fair. So I've added clean sheets in there. I could maybe add a defensive thing in there, like tackles, maybe, but I don't know. It would be good if the clean sheets appeared for defenders as well, but it really is just a goalkeeper stat on Football Manager, isn't it? You can see here Floyd Leonard, who was top of the charts in the last episode, still doing really well. 199 current ability for the Bayern Munich Haitian. Alex Calabri is also doing really, really well for Germany and Chelsea. Hugh Jass, Ben Kearney. I mean, there's loads of players with over 190 current ability. I've always said in the last series, any player with over 175 current ability is essentially a world-class player. So everyone from Christopher Pollockers up is a world-class player already, and there's still room for growth, I'm sure, in the next year or so. And there might be some late bloomers. We might see some players progressing later in their 20s, a bit like a Dimitri Payet type player, I suppose. But look, everyone is great. I mean, everyone is above 130, which was the current ability at the start. Unfortunately, Noel Timothy's up the lowest, 133 current ability. But interestingly, he is at PSG, although he is in the reserves. He has played a few games for the first team. So, it's impressive that despite the fact he is the worst player current ability-wise, he's still at a big club. I know they're not playing him really, but he's earning over £20,000 a week. He's worth 6.25 million. He's got some good attributes there. The problem with him is maybe because he's a centre-back, an attacking midfielder, and a striker. They don't really know where to play him, and his attributes are spread out. He's got brilliant finishing, excellent heading and tackling. And passing. Where would you put him? I don't really know. So that's probably the problem they've faced, and that's why he may not have progressed like some of the other players. Looking at the clubs, you can see PSG have got loads of players on this series. Real Madrid have got a fair few. Man United have got 5. So have Man City. Juventus have got 5 players. Dortmund have got 6 players, and Chelsea have 7. And Arsenal they usually have quite a few in these series, don't they? Livin Libero Loca doesn't have a club at the moment. Poor guy. Feel sorry for him. He finally started to play for Valencia, but now he's been released. He needs to find a club. He's not a bad player. He's got 148 current ability, and he can now play in central midfield, which is pretty random. I guess Valencia have decided to train him up there rather than centre-back. They've decided, let's put him in central midfield. But the thing is, I suppose he's got good dribbling, long shots, decent passing, flair. He's not really a defensive player in a way, so I guess it makes sense to train him up elsewhere. Let's look at the highest wage then. Morgan Kendall's earning £325,000 a week at Manchester City. Moved to Liverpool for £46.5 million before moving to Man City for £49 million. So he's left Cardiff, he's left Wales, and he's still playing for Wales, but you know what I mean. He's left Cardiff, which is based in Wales, moved to England, and now playing for Manchester City, where he's doing pretty well. They're paying him a hell of a lot of money. Value-wise, actually, let's just have a quick look at the lowest wage. Joseph Wagner still on the lowest wage out of the players that actually have a club at the moment. Value-wise, Kenneth Kennison and Boris Johnson, the two of the best players on this save, are worth £70 million. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Lowest value, of course, it's Livin Libero Loca on £0. But then it's McLovin, the North Korean goalkeeper, who's at Roma now. 61 caps for North Korea. He's moved to Roma for £69,000, very random fee. He was at Juventus. There was a hope that he would develop into a top quality goalkeeper and be good enough for Juventus, but I think they've got someone else, haven't they? But he went on loan to Chievo, and then he's gone to Roma. Let's just look at the goalkeepers. Yeah, because Oli Kenner-Stocker is the Juventus goalkeeper, as you can see there. I quite like looking at... Joseph Wagner, the person behind this player, commented in episode 6 saying it's quite fun to be the worst player, because it's almost more fun looking at the players that aren't doing so well, because it adds a little bit of humour to the series, because we see a player completely flopping and just being awful, which we haven't really had this time round, apart from Haraldson retiring at the age of 18, the Mongolian goalkeeper. But it's nice to see some of these other players just struggling to make a decent career. Ben Dover is at Real Madrid. He's been there his whole career, and he's mainly been playing for... Well, he's not actually even been playing for Castilla, has he? But he's played 6 games for Real Madrid this season, but he is in fact the 3rd lowest valued player out of our players. He's got 60 caps for Seychelles now. He's doing pretty well for them. He's the Seychelles captain. So despite the fact, current ability wise, he's alright. 152 is pretty impressive, and he's not earning as much as other players. He's not worth as much as other players. But you've got these other stories to them that are interesting. With Joseph Wagner, for example, he's just moving around some random teams. Alves in Portugal, then Eupen in Belgium, and now he's at SV Grodig in Austria. It's just a great story. He's a bit of a journeyman by the looks of it. He's an all-rounded, decent player, and it's just quite fascinating to follow the stories of some of these players. As always, I've put the download link to the 7th season save file in the description below, so you can load that into Football Manager yourself. For those a bit confused as what you have to do, download the file, then move it into My Documents, into your My Documents folder. There's a Sports Interactive folder in there, and within that there should be a folder called Games, and you just need to copy it into there. And then when you get to the home screen, of Football Manager 2016. You can just load the save file like it's any old save. So that's all you need to do. Obviously, if you don't have the game, you can't do that, but it just means you can look at things in a bit more detail, if you so wish. World reputation-wise then, so these are the players that around the world are the best known players essentially, and there's quite a few players with 4.5 stars now, as you can see there. The worst current ability-wise out of those players is Jack Mikhailov, but he plays for Bayern Munich, so that's probably why he's world-renowned. Lowest reputation, we've got a few players on 2 stars. Living Libero Loca, McLovin, Joel Souto, the Portuguese player, and Ryan Ellel, the Brazilian, who just isn't progressing how he would like. He's not played any international games in his career, which is a shame. I don't think he's got a second nationality. Oh, he does, Portuguese. So maybe he'll play for the Portuguese team eventually. He's playing in Madeira, in Portugal, still. Had a good season when they're in the second division there, you can see. 17 goals in all competitions. But he's just not quite progressing how we would hope he would. Moving on to the international scene, you can see Christian Gopi, the Trinidad and Tobagan, has 83 caps. He's leading the way. TJD is next for China. Doing really well. 75 caps, 34 goals. Now at AC Milan, he's a journeyman. He's gone from Den Haag in Holland, Gladbach in Germany, then to Juventus, and then they actually made a £1 million loss selling him to AC Milan. He didn't quite work out at Juventus by the looks of it, but he's had a good season with AC Milan. And Daniel Carter II's still getting lots of caps for South Korea. He's got 52 goals for them as well, and he's still at Juventus doing reasonably well for them. Felix for Honduras, 73 caps. Floyd Leonard for Haiti, still up there, and Christian Blanco for Honduras as well. Goals wise, Kenneth Kennison has now overtaken Nuasala, 73 goals in 65 games. Nuasala's dropped off slightly, 61 goals in 66, but that's what you would expect. Look at the difference between their current ability. Nuasala, still a very good player, but not as good as Kennethson. Nuasala's playing for Dortmund now with 10.75 million. He's had a lot of loan spells, as you can see there, from Inter Milan, but couldn't really break into the Inter team. And unfortunately, he hasn't broken into the Dortmund team either, so he might have to move on again if he wants club football. So all the players should have finished their youth international careers now. Martin Flickeshaug, as you can see there, 45 caps for the Norwegian under-21 team. He's only played a few games for the full international team. Paul Scholes Jr. just isn't breaking into that England team. He got the second highest number of youth caps. He's playing for Leicester, but it's just, I mean, this season he didn't play a huge number of games. I don't think he's going to break into the England team anytime soon. And his current ability, 140, isn't great. So I don't think he's going to emulate the real Paul Scholes, I'm afraid. Youth goals, Chris Reed got the most, 34 in 33 games for England. He's also got 2 goals in 8 games for the full England team, so that's pretty good actually, if we just look at the English players. Alex Newton's got 32 caps, Daniel Jones got 36, Simon Wakefield 28, Ferguson 37, and Ben Kearney 48. So we've got some good players in there, but James Brown and Paul Scholes Jr. haven't been capped by England yet. Let's just look at the England team. First in the world rankings. Maybe that means they've won a competition. We'll have a look in a bit. But you can see our players in amongst the real life players there. Doing pretty well indeed. There's in fact only 4 players that haven't been capped by their country. It's 2 Englishmen, Joel Souto, the Portuguese player, and Ryan Ellel, the Brazilian player. All pretty tough nations to get into, but Christian Serrera has actually got 2 caps with Spain, so that's a really good achievement because it's a really tough international team to obviously break into. All-time appearances then, West has 362 all-time appearances under his belt. He's still doing brilliantly. 193 current ability now, 21 goals in 56 games for Spain, firing on all cylinders at the moment. And Josh Downard, 193 current ability as well for Barcelona, 31 goals in 57 games for Italy, and he's doing really well for Barcelona at the moment. And of course he won European Golden Boy as well, didn't he, in the last episode. So really good stuff. Lowest all-time appearance is Living Libero Loco with 13. Can he overtake McLovin? He's not a huge number behind. Just needs to find a club to give him a chance, because he's a decent player. It's just, I guess, he's playing in an unusual position of sweeper. All-time club goals, huge ass for Chelsea. 153 goals in 303 appearances. That's a 1 in 2 record. And to do it for Chelsea is pretty impressive. You've got 31 goals this season in all competitions. Great stuff from him. West has the second highest, and it's Floyd Leonard. Got Boris Johnson. There's lots of players with over 100 club goals now, including Golden Puskas, my player, who is the player that I've tried to base on the real Puskas. 27 goals in 48 games for Hungary. I don't think he's going to be quite as lethal as the real Puskas. I mean, he basically got a goal a game. If you look at his record, it's ridiculous. And I'm quite a way behind that, unfortunately. Players that haven't scored at club level yet, obviously the goalkeepers. A few defenders as well, including Josh Jolly. The Bulgarian left back for Man City looks like a very good player. And who else? Puskas hasn't managed to get a goal at club level or international level either. 31 caps for Fiji. He's at Monaco, doing pretty well for them. Moving on to the past season then, what we can see, Josh Downard made the most appearances for Barcelona, Ben Kearney for Chelsea, and Alex Calabrese for Chelsea as well, all doing very well, as did Chris Reed for Leicester. Goals wise, huge ass top scorer in the 7th season, 31 goals for Chelsea. Josh Downard, Bryce Johnson, Kenneth, Christian Blanco all scoring plenty of goals as well. And assists wise, Christian Gobi 23 assists, Lee Gamble with 21 assists for Schalke. Really impressive stuff from them. Clean sheets, Regan Connor for Inter Milan, the Australian goalkeeper, 10 caps for Australia. He's not one of our best goalkeepers, but he's got the most clean sheets this season, so well done to him. Only 2 clean sheets from MJ Pegasus, but he only played 4 games, so that's understandable really. And average rating wise, Lee Gamble 7.92 average rating. 179 current ability this guy has. He's also got 31 caps for Fiji and 9 goals. Both the Fijians have probably played every single game. I don't think Fiji tend to play a huge number of international games, because compared to other players, they don't have that many caps. Moved to Schalke for 23 million this season, so big money involved in him. So yes, England did win the European Football Championship, beating Serbia 4-0 in the final. Unfortunately, we can't see that because it's quite a while ago, so we can't actually look in detail as to who, or we can see who scored actually if we just go to the fixtures and go back in time to 2020, where's the final there, 4-0. So Alex Newton with 2 goals and Raheem Sterling with the other. So well done to Alex Newton, once again being a prolific goal scorer for England. 20 goals in 32 games. In the last series he was pretty prolific. He didn't play a huge number of games, but when he did play he scored important goals. And he's having a good career with Chelsea on this save. Moved to Swansea for 26 million, then moved to Chelsea for 37 million pounds. Although he's not actually having that good career with Chelsea because he's not really playing many games, but he's still getting into the England team. He has to go back to a team like Swansea or West Brom if he wants to continue playing for England, I would suggest, because Chelsea just are not playing him whatsoever, which is a shame. Champions League then. Last 4 winners. PSG beat Juventus in the final. Spurs beat Real Madrid in the final. Real Madrid beat Barcelona in the final. It's the 3rd time they've lost a final. And Man United beat Juventus in the most recent one, which we can probably see. 4-0 in the final. Kenneth Kennison with a hat-trick. We got to see his hat-trick. Some guy called Dard in midfield. Kennison to Volland, classic football manager play. Great finish in the second half. Kennison running onto it. This New Zealand player is just insane. Simple finish really in the end past the keeper. And then his hat-trick goal then to just completely kill Juventus off. Some of our players were playing for Juventus in this final, remember. Another one-on-one, lovely finish. Let's just look at the players. Ollie Kenneth-Stocker, 6.3 performance from him. Pretty tough against Kennison, wasn't it? Anyone else playing? Isaac Spillman playing for Juventus in this game, the Peruvian. Paul Pogba. Oh, of course he's still at Juventus because it's on FM16. They've got Ødegaard. Daniel Carter II played as well. Golden Puskas. I came off the bench, wasn't able to turn it around. For Man United, Daniel Jordan played in the final. Yeldar, the Scotsman, played in the final as well for Man United. Obviously Kenneth, and I think that's it. But brilliant achievement for those guys in the Man United team. Going down to the Euro Cup then. Napoli beat Marseille 4 years ago. Barcelona managed to win the Euro Cup. They beat Paloma in the final. Chelsea beat Man United in the final last year. Man United obviously won the Champions League this year. And Leicester beat Leverkusen in the most recent final. They beat them 1-0. Belotti, I keep going on about this guy because I love him, but he scored. Let's just look at I think we've got a couple of Leicester players in here. Chris Reed, there we go. Chris Reed getting a Euro Cup under his belt. Looking at the Premier League then. So Spurs won it 4 years ago. And then we saw Arsenal, Man United, and then Man United beat Arsenal to the title this year. So 2 titles in a row for Man United, and they won the Champions League, remember, this season. That's pretty impressive stuff from them. Clear winners, 90 points. 8 ahead of Arsenal. Villa, Newcastle and Middlesbrough went down this season. Leicester, despite winning the Euro Cup, they finished down in 16th, meaning they qualified for the Champions League despite finishing 16th in the league. QPR and Fulham qualifying for the Euro Cup. Fascinating stuff. Let's just have a quick look at the Championship. I don't think we've got any players in the Championship now, but Cardiff, Sunderland and Bournemouth going up from the Championship. We haven't had a look at the FA Cup winners yet. Newcastle won it in the first season. Beat Leicester in the final. Man City, Southampton, Man City, Man United, Chelsea, and Chelsea are the 7 winners so far. And then the League Cup, Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Cardiff managed to win it, QPR, Arsenal and Arsenal. 2 wins in a row against Stoke in the most recent finals. Also, Hugh Jass, top scorer in the Premier League this season. Good achievement for him. Ladbrokes Premiership. I'm not sure we've got any players playing in Scotland at the moment, but Celtic have dominated. Likewise, Portuguese Premier League. I don't know if... Joel Bayford's still there, getting assists for Porto. Is the Israeli, been there his whole career, apart from going out on loan to Villarreal. Sporting have managed to win the last 2 titles, as you can see there. In La Liga, we've got Barcelona completely dominating this season. 106 points. Real Madrid down in 3rd place. They've won the majority of the titles, as you can see there. Christian Blanco, 2nd top scorer behind Carlos Fierro, Football Manager legend. Christian Blanco's doing really well actually on this, helping Valencia to a 2nd place finish. He scored 54 goals in 71 games for Honduras, who are 61st in the world. He's a really good player. In Serie A, we've had a variety of winners. Juventus aren't winning it every year. Inter Milan have come back into it, and they actually managed to win the title this year. Double disappointment for Juventus, who also lost the Champions League, remember. Regan Connaugh's joint 2nd highest clean sheets in the league. Don't think we've got any other players featuring on that list. In Ligue 1, PSG, as always, dominating, as you can see there. Christian Gopi, 2nd highest number of assists in the league. Eden Hazard playing for PSG now. German 1st Division, every year it has been Bayern Munich winning. So boring. Floyd Leonard, 3rd top goal scorer. Let's just have a quick look at him. Doing pretty well since his big move to Bayern Munich. And Andreas Egg and Lee Gamble on the top average ratings list yet there, as you can see. Lee Gamble top assists, joint top assists, also most man of the matches. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? In the Dutch league, Ajax have managed to win the last 3 titles. And we'll just have a quick look at the Belgian Pro League, where Ghent have won it every single season. Domination from them. European Golden Shoe then, have we got any players featuring on the list? I don't think... Oh, Josh Pataki, the Hungarian. 26 goals in 38 games for Arsenal 3 seasons ago. Our other Hungarian player doing really well. Is actually better than Golden Puskas, I think. Playing for Arsenal, scoring plenty of goals for them. Only 16 goals in 50 games for Hungary though. It's not a great record, although I think he can play... Can he play... Yeah, he can play attacking midfield as well. But that's the only player to feature on that list. European Golden Boy, of course we saw Josh Downard and Anthony Rosmus win it. But since then, none of our players, I guess because they've got a bit too old. Best player in Europe, Messi, Neymar and Neymar are the last 3 winners. Juan Mata still featuring on that list, and Messi at the age of 34. Well, Golden Ball then. Have any of our players featured yet? I hope so. But no. These real life players, Neymar are dominating at the moment. We need those players to retire for our players to feature, I think. Yeah. I mean, considering if we just use the in-game editor to look at Neymar's current ability, 197, which is exceptional, really, really good. But he's actually 3 behind 5 of our best players. Current ability doesn't, I mean, the difference between 200 and 197 is minimal. There's very little difference. It's a trivial difference, really. So it's all about performances on the pitch. And as you can see there, Neymar, 23 goals, 25 assists, and an 8.13 average rating. We need one of our players to do that before, I guess, they have a chance of winning World Player of the Year. But hopefully some of our players are in World Team of the Year now. If we just go down 3 seasons ago, there's no one. 2 seasons ago, Calabrese is in there, well done. Anthony Rosmus for Barcelona's in there. And is that it? Yeah, but 2 players, not bad, 2 defenders. And then this season, Alex Calabrese once again in there, as is Rosmus. Lee Gamble in there for Schalke. That's pretty good achievement. I mean, no disrespect to Schalke, but they're not up there with these other big boys. And to get in there just shows how good a player Lee Gamble actually is. And Andreas Egg and Boris Johnson as well. You can see the top reputation team in Europe is Bayern Munich. Financial aspect though, Arsenal are top, but the English teams are generally always top by this point. Those are the top competitions. La Liga is above the Premier League in the German First Division, Serie A and Ligue 1 at the moment. And these are the nation rankings. You can see England top, Argentina second, Sweden up there in 4th. I'm guessing that's because of Boris Johnson helping them out. They've got a few other players as well, haven't they? James Miller, Simon Stark. So doing really well, Sweden. Thanks to our help of giving them a handful of really good players. Oh, I didn't realise there was a list that showed the top players in the world. As you can see, Neymar, Verratti, Josh Downard's on the list, which is good to see. I didn't see this before. Alex Newton's on there, and Calabrese as well. I will have a look at that in the future because I didn't actually realise there was just an overview list showing the top players in the world. I don't know who decides that, but I guess the game just decides that itself. Obviously the game decides it itself. It's a game. There's not someone sitting there behind just typing away deciding, controlling my save. Or is there? So that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 7. Please smash that like button if you did. In episode 8, I'll probably go another 3 years into the future, so we'll have a look at the end of the 10th season, I guess. If my calculations are correct. As always, you can download the save file from the description below. Leave any thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know how the player you are regging on is doing in this series. Maybe you're supporting Noel Timothy and he's all the way at the bottom and you're hoping for him to get a move to a smaller club so he can get some game time and work his way up. Or maybe you are cheering on someone like Boris Johnson who's doing remarkably well. In a way, it's a little bit boring because he's just doing so well, but we've got all sorts of stories going on here, which is great to see. That's the whole point in this series, just following the career of some interesting, different players from different nationalities, different teams. It's good stuff. I'm enjoying it anyway, so hopefully you are too. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you very soon.